Are you dealing with a fixed mindset where you can't get out of your old habits and old ways? And you'd like to learn how to have a growth mindset so that you can expand your life, become more than of what you want to be? Well, stay tuned today because we're going to talk about that difference between a growth mindset or a fixed mindset. You'll decide which one you have. Hey, don't forget, I've got a new ebook out. I'll put the link to it down below in the description. The 5 most critical stretches to keep every human moving. Be sure to go get it, and I'll see you on the other side. Welcome back to the Muscle Repair Shop. My name is Butch Phelps, and today we're going to talk about mindsets. I'm getting a lot of questions lately from my in-office clients as well as my online friends asking me about the mindset part of it. Yes, there's all kinds of strategies for trying to stretch your body. You'll see them all over YouTube, where everybody has the tactics for stretching the body or massaging the body. But the truth of the matter is what happens is, what mindset do you have? Because if you have a fixed mindset, you may be running into a brick wall as you're trying to stop your chronic pain, versus if you have a growth mindset that will allow you to expand and grow and change your life. So let's get into what is a fixed mindset, and then we'll head into what is a growth mindset and how you can start to get more of a growth mindset, not just in stretching and massage, but in other parts of your life as well. So let's start off with the fixed mindset. Now, we've all gone through this. I mean, each of us has a fixed mindset and a growth mindset. Some of us tend to be more into the fixed mindset. It's like that's the way we've always done it. Or you may hear people say, well, you know, I'm getting older, so I expect to be stiffer. I expect to have more pain. Or, you know, it's just the way it is. It's the way I was born. That's called a fixed mindset. And in that mindset, you feel like you've tried everything possible. Nothing works. So you just begin to feel hopeless and just accept where you are and what you're dealing with. The sad part about that is that for so many people, there are other alternatives maybe they haven't been exposed to, but because they're stuck in getting into the belief that this is just the way it's supposed to be, they don't even bother to look and explore to try to find out how to solve that problem. And they may spend years dealing with something that there is an easy way of solving that actually was never solved. And what a sad thing that is. And like I said, we've all done that. I mean, you know, we start to try this and we try that, and after 4 or 5 different things and it didn't work, we just sort of give up. And it's just like, well, I guess that's the way it is. And that's too bad. Because I've had people who have been taught healthcare things in other parts of the healthcare system, and still they would come in and talk about the same thing of they think that maybe they're just too old. In fact, I had one woman come in one day with back pain, and she was saying that her doctor said to her, well, at her age, what did she expect? Now, you'd think he'd be talking to a 75-year-old woman. The woman was 48 years old. It's like, come on, you can't. You're not even allowed to use the word old at 48. You got to wait till you're at least 60 before you get to that point. But the point is that she was getting into that fixed mindset that there was nothing they could do. And in fact, what I said to her, because she said, well, my doctor said there was nothing he could do. And I said, okay, the thing to take with that is understand that it was nothing he can do. But that doesn't mean there's nothing somebody else can do. And what was funny about it was that within a matter of a couple of weeks, her back pain had stopped and she went back to playing tennis again. So it's about opening up your mindset to have more of a growth mindset. So what is a growth mindset? Whether you're in business or whether it's in relationships or whether it's with your health, a growth mindset is somebody who, when they have something that's not working quite right, they're willing to explore, ask questions, and look at things that they normally wouldn't look at to solve that problem. So in other words, if my hamstrings are tight, I'm not looking to just fix my tight hamstrings. I want to understand why my hamstrings are tight. Because once you understand the why, well, then that makes things all differently. So for instance, when I'm asked to give talks, most of the time the people who invite me to speak They think I'm going there to have a stretch class. And while that may sound great for the day, it's no more than just pure entertainment. And the reason for that is I'm not coming back next week or the week after to help build on that foundation. All I'm doing is showing them a series of stretches for an hour that most people in the room will not remember. They're not going to do them again. Where was the value? So what I explain to the people who ask me to come and speak is I share with them that what I do is I talk about the why. And once you know the why, the solving it becomes easy. Well, the same thing is true in growth mindset. Once you understand why you're broke, why you're lonely, why you hurt, solving it then becomes a problem. Maybe I'm lonely because I'm a jerk. Maybe I'm lonely because I'm too shy to talk to somebody. Maybe I'm broke because I don't know how to balance my checkbook, or I don't know how to manage my money. Maybe I'm stiff because I don't realize that I'm eating a diet that's high inflammatory, or I'm just sitting too much or whatever. But once you understand why those things are a problem, now you can start to explore and change your life by changing your mindset. So when you think about everything that goes on in your life, how you respond becomes important. And you're the only person that's in control of that. So when people will ask me many times, how do you sit and have meditation? Because their viewpoint, because they'll always say, I don't know how to do that. Well, their viewpoint is that I need to clear my mind of all thoughts. And unless you're a trained monk, that probably will not happen. It doesn't happen for me either. But you can sit for 20 minutes with your eyes closed, let your mind and your body relax. You can do it laying down. You could even do it walking if you wanted to. And you can let the thoughts run through your head just like you're watching a movie on a TV screen. Now, where people get in trouble is the thoughts come through their mind and then they place judgment on it. I should have done this. I should have said that. Why didn't I do this? And then that's where the stress comes in, the chronic stress comes in that tightens up the neck, the shoulders, the hips, the feet, or wherever you hold your stress. That leads to chronic pain. So the idea is that if I'm in a relaxed state, whether I'm lying or sitting, and I allow those thoughts to go through my head without judgment, what happens next is that the thought disappears. The body stays relaxed. Now I have control of my thoughts. And when I have control of my thoughts, I get to decide how happy I want to be. I get to decide if I want to be lonely or not. I get to decide to have a life of however I want it. It's not magic. The problem is, and Dr. Joe Dispenza talks about this several times, the problem is that we wake up every day, do the same routine, think the same thoughts, see the same people, and we wonder why we don't get a different result. Well, we've all heard the old adage, insanity is doing the same thing over and over, hoping for a different result. We have to change what we're doing. And when we change what we do, or we change the choices that we make, our lives will change, good or bad. Doesn't matter. Once you change those choices, your life will change. Well, then that's part of the growth mindset. So the growth mindset is looking at something not as a problem, but just as an obstacle. And how, the mindset then goes to, how do I get around that obstacle? And that's where the growth mindset comes in. And that's where the stretch and release that I teach comes in as well. Yes, it's about stretching. And yes, it's about self-massage. But more important than those two things is to get you in the right mindset so that you can release the tension in your muscles. The biggest issue I see with people in the muscle industry is they talk about lengthening the muscles. You will never lengthen your muscles. The muscles are attached on both ends. But what you're doing is you're releasing that tension. Thoughts in your mind, where you can't slow down your mind, you don't have control of your mind and it's running 100 miles an hour, tenses the muscles, puts additional tension into the muscles, which will lead to chronic pain. What we want to do is start practicing sitting in a chair, being quiet, allowing our thoughts, if they want to race, let them race, but don't place judgment on them. Just let them go through your head It's almost like they're going in one ear and out the other. And that's really what we want to have happen there. And when you do, you'll notice your body will be much more relaxed and you will have better control of your mind. Everybody thinks that I or other people are very disciplined, and we are to some degree. But the real key to that is we have control of our minds and we decide what we're going to do and when we're going to do it. And that's exactly what you can do too. And once you do, now the stretching and the self-massage becomes much easier. So I hope this was helpful for you. Again, you're welcome to order my book. It's Stretch and Release. It's on Amazon for $15. Go get it, read it, get a better understanding of how to change your mindset as well. And let's get your body freed up so your mind is freed up and you can live your life and do the things that you want to do. And for now, see ya. I hope you enjoyed this last video. Be sure to click on the video here to my left and enjoy.